Hey, what's up? Well, I'm back again. Surprisingly, I'm back with another video. and just want to check in because unfortunately my dad's going to be off pretty much from here until we move. Um in less than 2 weeks now. I don't want to tell the exact date because I'm afraid that someone could find my exact location from that. But I'm in the process of packing, which is easier said than done. And unfortunately, at the moment, we have lost our cool weather. You know, as I've stated before, the one thing that I hate the most, or the one thing that I hate about Texas, is the weather. You know, I just hate it so much. Hate the weather. You know, hate the fact that it can be just biting cold in the morning and then somehow or another warm up throughout the day to the point where you have to go barefoot just to feel normal. And no, I will not put this camera down lower because that would be humiliating. Okay, you have to wear t-shirts, shorts, and bare feet, and it is so not what I would like to be wearing in December. And it is pretty sad when the only way that I know that Christmas is in what? We're like, whoa, December 3rd? Oh my gosh, in 22 days or 3 weeks? Oh my gosh, the only way that I know that is by the Christmas trees everywhere. And that's why I'm wearing jingle bells, because that's about the only Christmassy thing about my outfit right now, because of this temporary warmth and fog. It's making it to where I can't see the moon or Mars, which is going into opposition. And it's just so infuriating. Oh my gosh, okay? And one time there was this t-shirt. See, this is pretty much what you have to do in Texas, you know, and places along the Gulf Coast. You have to buy Christmas clothes in summer styles, if that makes any sense. Like, basically, you dress like you live in Australia on Christmas Day sometimes. And like you buy t-shirts, you know, with messages like the sweaters outside are frightful instead of the weather, you know what I'm saying? So it's just humiliating. So anyway, what I would like to talk about in this video, and I know it may not be properly lit, but oh well, I don't have time to worry about that. What I'd like to talk about in this video, I'd like to follow up on my last video, because as I've stated before, you know, I'm trying to put out as many of them as possible because I do not know if or when I will be able to make videos at our new house. I'm sure I'll sneak a few in here and there, but there'll probably be nothing like the content that I've been putting out for the past, what, almost 3 years? And unfortunately, these obsessions will have to come to an end somehow, some way. And I hope it isn't painful. But what I'd like to talk about in this video is how I got off on this new obsession with rocket power. Okay? Now, you know, the obsession with it. You know, what I figured out about my obsessions, okay, in addition to not having enough going on in my life, you know, I don't ever get to be around people my own age, unfortunately. You know, just my old parents, especially my dad, who don't want to do much of anything. You know, so I don't have a lot going on in my life. And an idle mind is the devil's workshop. So that's part of it. But the other thing is what's called positive feedback loops, okay? And I don't want to get too specific, you know, as to what exactly I mean by that. But when you get into the habit of associating something with a positive feeling of any sort, you can become obsessed with it because, you know, it keeps giving you this feeling that you crave, you know, some kind of a positive feeling, whether it's comedy, you know, you want to laugh, or, you know, whatever the positive feeling you want to experience, you know, like music, you know, listening to the same song over and over again because I enjoyed it the first time I heard it. So basically, it's just you get into a positive feedback loop, and sometimes that is very difficult to break. And the older I get, the harder it is. And so I'd been obsessed, you know, well, especially in 2019 and 20, with that third movie that I made way too many videos about, because of a positive feedback loop. And, you know, this new thing that I've just recently sort of come down with, I want to pinpoint it around mid-October. Okay, and you'll see the exact date pretty much at the end of this video. But this new obsession I got going on with rocket power. Well, I've been trying to somewhat branch out. I haven't been watching the Rugrats, okay? I haven't watched that third movie since, I want to say, like 2020, except for that clip, okay? So, I've been sort of getting away from that obsession, and I'm not watching the reboot, as I've stated before. But I've been getting away from that and trying to, branch out and, find other things to watch or experience. But sometimes the only way to get rid of an obsession is to replace it with something very similar, that fills the void that the old obsession left behind. You know what I'm saying? It has a lot of the same properties as your previous obsession, okay? And the thought process that got me hooked on rocket power and wanting to watch, old episodes, because what happened was, okay, as I stated before, I cannot get into the Rugrats reboot. I'm sorry, I just can't. And I won't. Okay, because it has a very negative association in my mind, okay, for a number of reasons. And so I thought to myself, it's like a part of me, wants to re-experience the Rugrats in a different way, not All Grown Ugly, because I hate that. I see both All Grown Ugly and the reboot as a bastardization on the original. And of course, it doesn't get better than All's Well That Pretends Well. So, what happened was, I want to say around mid-October, somehow or another, I rewatched Typhoid Sam, because I wanted to experience, like, just something that's similar to Rugrats, has a similar feel, the 2D, but it's not the Rugrats, you know what I'm saying? It's different characters, different place and everything. And so, what happened was, I think I started rewatching it. I had somewhat planned to do that for years. I really don't know how or why, but here's the thought process that got me hooked. I was sitting outside in mid-October, and every single night here lately, I look at Mars. If it's clear outside, I look at Mars, just like I stare at the moon. Okay, and I was looking at Mars, and somehow or another, I don't know why I was thinking about rocket power, and just the name rocket power already has a space theme about it. And Reggie wears a rocket on her shirt or blouse or whatever, and so I was thinking about Mars and space and rocket power, and I thought, wasn't there a character named Lars? Which obviously rhymes with Mars. You know what I'm saying? It's like sometimes you just play with words and you change the consonant and you get a lot of different words, like bars, cars, etc. Okay? And so I was just thinking about Mars and Lars and, thinking about the Typhoid Sam episode. And I just, just decided that rather than watch the Rugrats reboot and feel angry, at these people that I've been talking about, defending the show and whatnot, I thought to myself, well, why don't I re-experience something from the past that's not quite so worn out? You know what I'm saying? It has a similar feel to it, but it's slightly different. It's sort of like listening to a different song by the same artist that you like, but you've heard, your favorite song thousands of times and you're tired of it. So you just listen to one of his other songs. Well, that's what Rocket Power feels like. It's like a different cartoon by the same people. Sort of like the Thornberrys. So anyway, I've spent way too long talking about that. But then I just started to get into it. And once I made that first video, I just started to form a new positive feedback loop, very similar to the old one. I'm not going to describe it, in graphic detail, but you can imagine. So, basically, just started getting into that instead. And one thing I forgot to mention, you see, this is what I'm talking about. Like, I can spend 10 hours talking about this stupid subject and never say all I have to say about it. One thing I forgot to mention about the episode named The Jinx. See, this is why I say, it's just ridiculous. All these people that want to swear up and down that this character would never crap their pants in a million years, you know? and I swear, men can be so dense about this. I swear, I'm just finding out, it's frustrating me to death that men are so dense. They dominate the extremes in life. The smartest people in the world are men, but so are the dumbest. And then the averages are really not that far apart. Okay, but most men are pretty stupid about a lot of things. They might have one area of expertise where they're really good, and then everything else, just like my dad, everything else just goes to hell in their life, unless they have a woman taking care of it. Okay, and it's just really frustrating for me to have to learn that the hard way through my dad. And it's making me want to become a guy less and less and less every day. Okay, and so, what I want to talk about, the episode called The Jinx, okay. So it's very similar to the one Race Across New Zealand, and in the fact that his friend fell on top of him. Okay, Lars fell on the ground. His stomach, was against the concrete, and then his friend Animal fell on top of his back. So, he fell on the ground, and then, after that scene, okay, they were at the shore shack, and Otto made a snide remark like, wow, that's what I've always wanted. Lars is tush in my face, which that means butt. Okay. And personally, I would prefer the A word, the one that means donkey. That's the last, like, something sarcastic, like, the last thing he would have ever wanted was Lars's butt in his face. And when you rewind and you pause it, you notice that his butt was not in Otto's face. Okay. It was like his butt was here and Otto was right here. Okay, so what does that mean? Read between the lines. There's something about his butt that Otto didn't like. Okay, and it wasn't directly in his face, so it must have smelled pretty bad. Why would his butt smell pretty bad? Well, sure, he's a gross Mexican boy, so he probably doesn't wipe very well, just because he's a male. But if his friend fell on top of him and his stomach was against the concrete, have you ever seen a hydraulic press and what it does? Well, imagine a big fat guy, falling on top of you when you're on the concrete, and he does the same thing. And imagine, that his rectum was full, and that playing hockey stimulated his bodily functions. Oh my gosh. Okay, so all these stupid people that would like to say that no one would ever crap their pants unless they're a baby in a diaper in a Klasky Chupo cartoon, they're a bunch of idiots. Okay? And it just really makes me mad, because men can be so dense, I swear. It's like you have to hit them over the head with a 2x4 and then they still don't get it. Okay? Men are stupid. And it's like, they lack something. And this is something I've discovered. Okay? That I am a woman. Okay? No matter what anybody wants to say about me, I am a woman. And as such, I have something called intuition and understanding people's emotions, just looking at someone, whether it's a real person, a cartoon, or whatnot. It's like I can look at a picture or even an animal and I can somewhat know what they're thinking. You know what I'm saying? I can tell like their feelings just from looking at them and body language and stuff like that, nonverbal communication. There's just something about being a woman that you just look at people and you understand what they're feeling and what they're thinking and why and what they meant by things that men it just goes over their head sometimes. And it's very frustrating. So yeah, it's like only a stupid idiot man, would watch that third Rugrats movie and say that any of the kids did not need a diaper change. Only a stupid man would swear by it and say, no, she did not poop in her pants. You know what I'm saying? Wouldn't you want your kid to have their clothes changed or whatever they're wearing, if they ran around an island all day, getting dirty? Only a stupid man would say no to that. A woman knows that they all needed to be changed. And it's true. It's like women just have this way of reading between the lines and understanding emotions in a way that men just don't. Okay? And so I believe, I stand by what I believe. I believe that Angelica and perhaps a few others, pooped herself in that movie that I've been talking about for 3 years. I believe that the Rocket Power kids. And another thing about Rocket Power that's just always got me a little bit tingly, even when I wasn't really into it that much. There's something about surfers that basically killed my respect for surfing in general. And it's something I read, which, I'm not exactly sure how true it is, but supposedly when surfers really need to go, number two, I mean, I can imagine peeing in the pool, okay? I don't mind that whatsoever. Um, I can imagine that. Okay, but if they have to go number two and they're surfing, they just let it go. Oh my gosh. Just let it out in their board shorts and just, they call it fish food, supposedly. And that just, it's like I don't respect surfers anymore. Okay. And so, the fact that the kids on Rocket Power like to surf, it's like, oh my gosh, I mean, I know they're not going to show something like that, but oh my gosh, that just shocks me so much. So anyway, I've talked way too long about this once again. So I'll go ahead and post this video. And hopefully, my dad will work one day and I'll be able to post another. So yeah, you'll never convince me that the aforementioned characters did not poop their pants.